Hey everyone, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, I usually get my mid-year update video out of the way at the start of July, but as you can all clearly see, it is well beyond that point, and I've been pretty much radio silent since my Metroid 2 video. This is going to be a short one because there really hasn't been all that much going on in terms of the channel this year. I've got some splaining to do, that's for sure, so let's get right into it. So my original plan for this year, like all of my plans, was pretty good. In years past, I'd done a lot of really long games for my videos that would lead to really long turnaround times in between those videos. That had been, frankly, really draining, and I was kind of on the verge of a bit of a burnout if I had continued with those types of games. So I came up with the great idea to cover a series I'd wanted to talk about for a while, one that I would theoretically be able to move through a lot quicker. And things were starting out pretty well, all things considered. I really liked the videos I did on both Metroid and Return of Samus. The one for NES Metroid ended up being a little more controversial than I expected. I honestly thought I was being really fair to that game, and legitimately ended up enjoying it a lot more than I had expected, but hey, you can't please everybody. The Metroid 2 video went over quite a bit better, and I definitely feel like it is the better of the two, which makes sense because I enjoyed that game a lot more, and for me it's historically been a lot easier to write a good script for something I enjoyed a lot over an experience that had more caveats and issues. In my opinion, both of these videos turned out really well though, and I was really excited to keep working on future videos. That hasn't changed. I am really excited to work on videos for the rest of this series, and as I'm making this, my video for Super Metroid is in the editing phase, so it really shouldn't be that much longer. But as I'm sure you've all noticed, I put out the video for Metroid 2 in May, and it is now August. This is the longest stretch in between videos I've probably had in like 5 years, and I feel like I need to go into some of the reasons why. So I mentioned this in an update to my Patreon members a little while ago, but I got a promotion at work back in April, and that's led to a few pretty significant changes in my life. That promotion came with a lot more responsibility, a larger team to lead, and longer hours. That leaves me pretty exhausted basically every day after work, and while I'm sure lots of people have it far worse, being gone for upwards of 11 hours every workday is rough. Adding that onto the daily workouts that I'm doing now that take about an hour to an hour and a half, I'll often have maybe 1 or 2 hours of free time at the end of the day before I have to go to bed, and that really isn't conducive to getting work done, especially when in order to put out my best work, I need to dive deep into games and into my own thoughts to properly write a script. Another thing that's been affecting my productivity that's a little more difficult to quantify involves my voice. So I've been doing this for a while, and you'd think that with practice it'd get easier, right? It did for a while, but sometime around the middle of last year, I think after I got sick, something started to happen. I developed this issue where after speaking for a while, and especially after projecting my voice like I do for my videos, it'd start to get really hoarse and gravelly. And it's the sort of thing that I couldn't predict. I could be fine for a bit, then all of a sudden everything I say would be awful. Ever since that started, it's taken me so much longer to actually record lines that I'm happy with. For instance, it took me about 4 hours to record the lines for my video on Baten Kaitos 1, which makes sense since it's a really long video. Fast forward a year and a bit, it took several sessions over several days to record everything for the Metroid 2 video. I have no idea why this started to happen, but it's forced me to drag out the recording process, which ripples a lot to the entire production pipeline. But the biggest contributors to my unplanned break have been family and health related. We had a death in the family back in June, which has been pretty tough on my family. I put basically everything on hold for a while when that happened, but of course, when it rains it pours. Another member of my family has been dealing with some other serious health issues, and I'm not going to go into any details, but yeah, it's not good. That popping up immediately after the death has been pretty rough. So for a while there, I wasn't really in a great spot for actually doing anything regarding the channel. It had always been on my mind, but I just had to take a bit of time for myself, you know? But whenever I've had the chance, I have been working and slowly making progress. That lack of progress is really frustrating, especially considering the fact that just a few years ago, I'd be able to put out what I consider really good, long videos in a fraction of the time it's taken me to do Super Metroid's video. That's not to say that I blame my lack of progress entirely on situations outside of my control or anything. I definitely am to blame here too, and I think once I finish with Super Metroid, things should improve. See, I think I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to do the game justice, you know what I mean? Like, it's widely considered one of the greatest games of all time, and I'm just a guy. For a game this beloved, I really wanted to put out something worthy of that reputation. So I've done a lot more rewrites to this video script than I usually would, despite them probably not being all that necessary. So yeah, the last few months have really done a number on me, and I haven't even had that much time to play games on my own time. Like, I bought a Switch 2 on launch day, but I've only put in like 10 hours into Mario Kart World, despite liking it a lot more than most people probably do. All that is to say that I'm sorry for how long I've been away, and I'm sorry for not at least updating people on things a bit more. I'm especially sorry to my Patreon subscribers. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it because it needs to be said. I appreciate you all so much. You're giving me your own hard-earned money, and I want to work hard enough and put out content good enough to be worthy of that. Now, I think it's about time I get back in the saddle, and I'm working every moment I have free to finish the Super Metroid video so I can move on, regroup, and start getting my content schedule up to speed again. I was hoping to have many more videos out this year than will end up actually happening, for sure, but I would like at least to get Super, Fusion, and Zero Mission done in 2025. I haven't really decided how I'm going to tackle the rest of the series beyond those games, but I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. Anyways, yeah, this is just a short little update video to get you all up to speed on what's been going on in my life over the last few months, and why I've been gone for so long. I hope I've at least given you a bit of an answer, and if there's anything else you need to know, feel free to ask, and I'll try to answer everything. Thank you all so much for watching.